All right, let's dive right in. We're heading over to the Bundesliga for this one.
Thumbs good.
A big matchup. Bayer Leverkusen versus Bayern Munich.
Mm.
We've got a really detailed tactical breakdown to dig into.
Oh, awesome. This should be good. So what are we looking at?
A real David versus Goliath situation,
Yeah.
right? Bayern Munich, the reigning champs, at the top of their game.
Yeah.
Leverkusen, not too far behind, but still, on paper, Bayern's the clear favorite.
For sure, for sure. Bayern's got that reputation, right? They're the team to beat.
Exactly. But that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. Could Xabi Alonso with Leverkusen actually pull off an upset against Vincent Kompany and Bayern?
Ah, that's the question. So what happened? Spilled the tea.
Well, one thing's clear from the analysis. Leverkusen came out swinging.
Oh, really? How so?
Aggressive,
Yeah.
high pressing. They were all over Bayern.
Wow. Okay, so they weren't messing around. I mean, what did that actually look like on the field?
Like a pack of wolves, honestly.
Yeah.
Just hounding Bayern's players, not giving them a moment to breathe.
Interesting. That's intense. They must have been targeting someone specific, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bayern's midfielders.
Mhm.
That's where they focus their energy, disrupting their flow, forcing them into mistakes.
So instead of letting Bayern control the game, Leverkusen was setting the pace.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. They did all of this without a traditional striker.
Wait, what? No striker, seriously?
They went with a fluid front three, constantly switching positions, making it a nightmare for Bayern's defenders.
Wow. That's a risky move, especially against a team like Bayern. So how did Bayern react to this unexpected pressure?
Well, from what I'm seeing here, it looks like they were a little caught off guard.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's not their usual game.
Definitely not. Bayern usually dictates the play, controls possession, keeps the ball moving. But here, they seemed almost got cautious.
So instead of attacking like they usually do, they were focusing more on defense.
It seems that way, sticking with their classic 4-2-3-1 formation. But it just wasn't clicking like it normally does.
So even though Bayern had their usual formation, the actual game was totally different. It's fascinating how one team's tactics can completely change the dynamic.
Totally agree. And speaking of dynamics, let's talk about Harry Kane. Bayern's star striker, right?
Oh, yeah. The guy's a goal machine.
Well, here's the thing. Because Leverkusen's press was so effective, Kane was actually dropping back into midfield just to get touches on the ball.
So they were basically playing without a true striker up front.
Kinda, yeah. They had no real focal point in attack for a lot of the match.
Wow, Leverkusen really forced them to switch things up. It's almost like two completely different teams were out there.
Exactly. And that's what makes this match so fascinating from a tactical point of view. So we've got Leverkusen playing this high-energy pressing game, forcing Bayern to adapt. It sounds like the kind of game where individual performances really matter. Who were some of the standout players in all of this?
Let me see. Well, on Leverkusen's side, Florian Wirtz was absolutely running the show in midfield.
Yeah, he's been having a fantastic season.
He was just pulling all the strings, Incredible vision, creative passes, constantly unlocking Bayern's defense. It's clear why he's considered one of the best young talents out there.
Absolutely. And then there's Granit Xhaka, right?
Oh, yeah, Xhaka. The guy they got from Arsenal, I remember him.
Well, he's become a real midfield enforcer for Leverkusen, just completely disrupting Bayern's rhythm.
How so?
Well, tactical fouls, key interceptions. He wasn't afraid to get physical when he needed to. Just a wall in midfield.
Wow, he really seems to have found his groove over there. It's interesting to see how these individual talents can come together and really make a difference for a team. But Bayern had some strong performers too, right? Despite all that pressure.
Absolutely. Diogo Upamecano, for example, rock solid in defense for Bayern.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Crucial tackles, perfect positioning, just reading the play like a seasoned pro. It's amazing how solid Bayern's defense was, even under all that pressure from Leverkusen.
It makes you wonder if that's why Kompany went with a more cautious approach in this game. Trusting his defense to hold up while they figured out a way to counter Leverkusen's attack.
It's definitely a possibility. But even with that strong defense, Bayern must have been feeling the heat, especially with Leverkusen coming so close to scoring.
Oh, yeah. There were some nail-biting moments, like when they hit the crossbar, not once, but twice.
I know, right? Talk about a heart-stopping moment for Bayern.
It really makes you wonder, was Bayern truly outplayed, or were they just playing it safe, strategically absorbing that pressure, waiting for the right moment to strike back?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's made even more interesting because, well, the analysis points out Kompany's decision to stick with that defensive strategy even as the game went on.
That is interesting. You'd think with a team like Bayern, they'd be pushing for a win, right?
You would, wouldn't you? But maybe those close calls from Leverkusen made him hesitant to take too many risks.
It's a tough call for a manager. Risk it all for the win, or play it safe and secure a point. In this case, it seems like company chose the safe route.
Yeah. But it definitely raises questions about how Bayern will handle teams that use similar tactics in the future.
For sure, for sure. It's almost like Leverkusen forced them into a game of tactical chess, and while it's not clear who won that game.
Exactly. And that brings us to what happened after this intense standoff.
Yeah, what happened next? Did they break the deadlock? Tell me, tell me.
So we ended in a draw. Leverkusen, with all their effort, couldn't quite get that winning goal.
Yeah, a draw against the top team. That's a good result, I guess, but they're still 8 points behind Bayern. They need wins, not just draws.
Yeah, true. It's like they played a brilliant game but couldn't quite seal the deal. Did the analysis mention anything about what they could do to, actually turn these draws into wins?
Well, they did point out one thing. Finishing.
Finishing.
Yeah, like they created so many chances. Remember those 2 shots that hit the crossbar?
Oh, yeah. I was on the edge of my seat for those.
Exactly. If even one of those had gone in.
Game changer.
Totally. But okay, let's talk about Bayern for a second. They kept their top spot, but this match showed they're not invincible, right?
Right. They definitely had some weaknesses exposed, especially in the midfield.
Oh, yeah. Leverkusen's press really shut them down.
Remember how we talked about Harry Kane having to drop back just to get the ball?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that hurt Bayern's attack? Like not having him up front where he's most dangerous?
Definitely. Bayern's all about that dynamic attack,
Yeah.
Wingers cutting in, Kane making those runs behind the defense, but without him up top.
No focal point.
Exactly. Leverkusen's defense could just sit back, stay organized, and it made it way harder for Bayern to break through. It's like Leverkusen forced them to play a different game one they weren't really comfortable with.
And that brings us back to company. Sticking with that defensive strategy, even late in the game. That was a surprising choice.
Wasn't it? You'd expect Bayern to be going all out for the win.
Right. But maybe those close calls by Leverkusen made him think twice about taking too many risks.
I mean, yeah, as a manager, it's a tough decision. Go for the win and risk conceding a goal, or play it safe and try to hold on to a point. Looks like company went with the safe option.
Yeah, but it makes you wonder how they'll handle teams that play like Leverkusen in the future.
Oh, absolutely. This match definitely gave us a lot to think about, Like, we're seeing more and more teams willing to challenge the big guys.
Using that high press, disrupting the flow.
It's exciting. Bayern's been dominant for so long, but this match proves they can be challenged.
Totally. And that's what makes this sport so great, right? It's always evolving, new strategies, underdogs finding ways to compete.
Exactly. This match was a glimpse into the future of the Bundesliga, where things are going to get a lot more interesting, a lot more unpredictable. But enough from us. We want to hear from you, the listeners.
We've covered a lot of ground here, broken down those tactics, analyzed those key moments, and really dug into what this draw could mean for both Leverkusen and Bayern going forward.
Yeah, it was a really fascinating match, tactically speaking.
But now I want to shift gears a little bit. Put you, the listener, in the manager's seat. Imagine you're calling the shots for either Leverkusen or Bayern. What would you do differently?
That's a tough one. So many options.
Right, so many possibilities. Would you go all in on that high press, like Leverkusen? Keep the pressure on, try to force more mistakes? Or maybe you stick with Bayern's more cautious approach, but try to find ways to unlock some more creativity in the midfield.
Maybe even a change in formation. Or focus on specific matchups, really try to exploit those one-on-one battles. I don't know, it's a real puzzle. But that's what makes it so fun to think about, right?
Exactly. This is what football's all about. The strategy, the mind games, the constant adjustments. This match wasn't just about the result, it was about the clash of styles.
Right. Like a game of chess, almost.
Totally. And, one of the things that really stood out to me was seeing Leverkusen, a team that's often seen as the underdog, really take it to Bayern. They weren't afraid to challenge the champs,
Yeah, they had a game plan and they stuck to it, and it almost worked.
It really did. It just goes to show that even the best teams in the world can be vulnerable. If you've got the right tactics, if you execute your plan well, you can compete with anyone. And that's a lesson we can all take away from this match, whether we're talking about football or anything else in life.
Absolutely. Never underestimate the power of a good strategy.
Exactly. And, that's what we try to do here on the Deep Dive. We want to go beyond just the scores and the highlights. We want to help you understand the deeper game, the tactical side of things.
Because that's where the real beauty of the sport lies, in those subtle movements, those strategic decisions, the way individual players can make a difference.
So next time you watch a match, whether it's in the Bundesliga or any other league, remember to keep an eye out for those details, the little things that often go unnoticed but can have a huge impact on the game.
Because that's where you'll find the true depth, the complexity, the endless possibilities of football.
And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive, equipping you with the knowledge and insights to appreciate the game on a whole new level. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.